Hello everybody, this is Bushhog here. I just wanted to say, first off, let me disclosure, I do not delete anybody's comment, ever. You can call me the biggest fucking idiot in the world, I don't care, I don't think it's very constructive, but I will never delete your comment. Typically what happens if you find your comment is no longer there, it is more than likely because you said a special word that YouTube doesn't like, and YouTube, just like any other social media outlet, will delete your comment before I even see what you said. So, you know, if you say something and you're like, well, what the fuck? Why'd you delete my comment? You don't want to argue or you don't like me? It's not me. It's YouTube does it. I don't filter the comments. I don't even set the video. I set the video so that you can say whatever the fuck you want. And I don't even do top comments. I set it to most recent, just like it should be. So, like I said, if your comment's not there, you need to retype it and be a little bit more professional in your language. Anyway, moving on. My last... I got a burp. And now I don't. Never mind, there it is. My last video was kind of scripted, and I got a couple of, not complaints, but criticisms saying that it was a little bit odd, that kind of format. So I guess I'm going to revert for this one and just do it off the rip, because I was thinking about it throughout the day, or this topic throughout the day, and I really wanted to talk about it. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to make any notes. I'm just going to take a sip of beer and just ramble for a little while. So, anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is why you should be a yes man. Now, the definition of a yes man is, I mean, I'm not fucking Mr. Webster, but, you know, in my head, it's a guy that when people ask him for something, you always say yes. Not everything, like, not if it's something stupid, you know what I mean? Like, somebody fucking asks you to jiggle their balls in the fucking stall at the movie theater, like, I guess if you want to say yes to that, then sure, but I'm not going to oblige that request. But if that's your thing, then sure. But I mean, like, mostly work-related stuff and or friends. And you say, well, what if it inconveniences me? See, this is the thing. A lot of people that are yes men do it because they're being nice and they're good-hearted people, and that is excellent. What I will say is I am not as good-hearted as you. I see being yet not only is it nice to do things for people when they ask you, but also being a yes man serves a very tactical advantage, if that makes sense, when it comes to life. So let's just take work, for example. I find that anytime somebody asks me for a favor, I always say yes. I don't care. It can be a buddy that just ran his truck off the road into a ditch, you know, an hour away or whatever. If they call me, I don't know how to explain it. For me, a lot of the time, it's not that I want to say yes as much as I really would feel bad if I said no. So, if they call me, I always say, you know what? Yeah, I'll be there. Give me 30 minutes or whatever, and I'll be there. I'll get you out. But what this translates to is almost like a positive karma. Like, now that you've done something for him, in the future, if you're ever in a bind, guess what? You call him up, and maybe he doesn't want to do it either. Other humans are naturally, mostly, except for like really fucking good people, most humans are naturally at least a little bit selfish, because unless you're like a really good Christian, it's in our nature to mostly just look out for ourselves. However, you can manipulate this nature to where if you can tell yourself that you are looking out for yourself by looking out for others, be it your friends and coworkers, that it can work in your benefit, and you can basically change your mindset to be what is more or less a pretty good person, just in that realm of telling yourself that. today, for example, I've started this new job recently. A lot of you know me. And I've gone back to truck driving. Now, I don't stay out for weeks at a time anymore. The most I stay out is one night. And I stay out one night a couple times a week, if that makes sense. Like, I'll do a run, do some of my deliveries, stay overnight in the area, wake up the next day, do the rest of my deliveries, and then I'll come home. So, anyway, so at this current point, today, for example, today is Saturday. We were not really supposed to be working today. I told my boss, because the warehouse was working today, but the drivers weren't. I said, look, this is me. I always like to be in good with my boss. You can call it brown nosing. I don't care. The motherfucker signs my paycheck. I want him on my side. I'm not going to suck up to him. But if they need something, or if they need something extra, I want to be that guy that they think of. Because when I need something extra, be it a raise, be it a certain day off, be it anything, if I don't tell them no when they ask me for something, they can't tell me no. I mean, they can, but they're less likely to do so. So I told my boss yesterday, I said, look, if anything comes up tomorrow, for whatever reason, like if you just find that you need something drove somewhere or another, so just give me a call. I can't promise you that I'll be there. It depends on what I'm doing. But, hey, I'll do it. If I can, I'll do it for you. And he said, okay, good. I'll keep you in mind. And granted, let me take a sip of beer. It's getting kind of hot. I was hoping that is as far as that would go. I was hoping that I would just have today off. I could mow some grass, go get my hair cut, gas up the Chevy, all that good stuff. Sure enough, as soon as I fucking get home yesterday and crack open my first beer, he calls me. And he says, hey, sorry for bugging you, but actually I did have something that came up. Would you mind tomorrow, the guy that works in South Carolina, we operate out of Florida. He said the guy that works in North Carolina or South Carolina, he doesn't have enough hours to come down and pick his load up for Monday. Do you think tomorrow you could run his load up to South Carolina, drop it off, and bring the empty trailer back? I said, you know what? Now, granted, he said that the trailer wouldn't be ready till 10 a.m. To go to South Carolina and back is an 8-hour drive. I didn't want to say yes, but you know what? I said, yep, I'll do it. And he said, oh, all right, awesome, great. So basically, I don't have a truck yet either. So what happened was he put me in kind of the only work friend's truck that I have so far. The guy kind of showed me the ropes of what to do at the job. But he's like, oh, yeah, you can just take such and such's truck. I'm not going to name names. I don't know why. It probably doesn't matter. But he's like, you just take such and such's truck. So I said, okay. So sure enough, I'm running this load. It's like fucking 10:30 before I even get to leave. So I already know I'm not going to be back until late. I call the guy that owns that it's his truck. And I say, hey, man, I just wanted to give you a heads up. They sent me up to South Carolina, and I'm in your truck. I just, when I come back with this empty trailer, the warehouse yard is probably not going to be open, so I'm going to have to keep it where we parked the truck. So I didn't want you to come back on Tuesday. So I'm trying to be as nice as possible, really cement in this relationship of just being a general good person, but in a tactical kind of way. I said, look, I just don't want you to come in on Tuesday and see this trailer hooked up to your truck and not have any idea what's going on. He said, oh, no, that's cool. I appreciate you letting me know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, do you think that maybe when you get back tonight that you can fuel up my truck at the fuel island? And I said, now, granted, I'm already getting back fucking late. It is like 8 o'clock, okay, when I get back. It was like 8:30 when I got back. But I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that for you. No big deal. And he was like, all right, awesome, man. I really appreciate that. Now, see, this mentality, I mean, granted, this guy already, anytime I call him and bother him with some fucking stupid question because I don't know what I'm doing, he already helps me out every time. So it's already been going back and forth, if that makes sense. But you have to keep this up in life. You always have to be that guy. If you're not that guy that says, if you're the type of person, I hate to hear this fucking mentality. When I made less money than what I do now, I would always hear people say, not the burp, but people would always say, oh, I don't get paid enough for that. Oh no, I'm not doing that for them. What do they do for me? If you have the mindset of, I'm not doing anything for anybody unless they do it for me first, you're never going to get anything done for you, because you're always going to be behind the guy that does for others first, and then when he needs something, they do something for him back. You have to be the person. One of the things at my last job that I hated, there was always this one guy. They used to be a well driller. So there was always this one fucking guy where he's like, they would ask him to drill because he'd been a helper long enough to where he kind of knew what he was doing. And he's like, no, they didn't give me a raise, so I'm not going to drill. It's like, well, that's the fucking wrong mindset. They asked you to do something, you do it first. When that happened to me, my boss came to me and he said, hey, I want you to go. Now, granted, I had already drilled a couple wells at this point, and I hadn't gotten a raise or anything like that for it, but I was just, learning how to drill. My boss said, hey, I want you to go set up so-and-so's rig on this site. And this was a 5-inch well, which I don't know how to explain it, but it's a lot harder than a normal well because everything is just bigger and more complicated. I've never ran this guy's rig before either, keep in mind. He's like, hey, I want you to go out and set up so-and-so's rig on this site, because the guy wasn't there that day. He said, now listen to me. He said, if you set the rig up, I'm perfectly happy. He said, if you can drill 20 feet or something like that, I'm even happier. He says, now if you set the top casing, which I don't know if you've ever seen a well, but it's a PVC casing that goes in the ground, and like the first casing of it is just basically blocking out all the sand and shit that would get into the water. It's hard to explain, but he says, if you set top casing, I'm really happy. And I said, okay, well, I'm not making any promises, but I'll do what I can. He says, okay, great, just, go out there and at least set up. So I didn't really want to drill it because I wasn't confident in what I was doing. And like I said, I never ran this guy's rig. It was completely different from what my rig was. But anyway, basically what ended up happening was I kind of took the majority of the day to just set up the rig, because I really was hoping that when I called my boss, that he would just tell me not to worry about drilling. But I call him at 1 o'clock and I say, hey, I got the rig set up. I was just wondering, I guess I still have time. Do you want me to try and set casing or what? And he says, you know what? Let's do it. Let's try it. He says, if you mess something up, I won't be mad at you. But, let's just go for it. I think you can do it. I say, okay. I did end up getting the casing set. And you know what happened? A couple of weeks later, I came in there and I asked my boss. I said, hey, do you, we were talking about something else. Just bullshitting. And he's like, well, is there anything else I can help you with? And I said, I don't know. Can I have a raise? And he kind of stopped for a minute and laughed. And then he said, well, thinking about it, you always come to work. You're always on time. Anytime I ask you to do something, you always tell me yes. And, I was really impressed and happy when you set that 5-inch casing for me the other week or whatever. He's like, you've been drilling wells and stuff. You've been learning a lot. So, yes, you can have a raise. It had to, the process, and my old boss is not a horrible guy, but he's kind of greedy. But the process has to start with you saying yes first. Now, if you say yes to somebody and then they say no, and you say yes again and they say no, all right, well, at some point you can't be a fucking doormat to people. You know what I mean? But if you can start by saying yes and doing for others and then they do for you back, that's how you get ahead in life. People that don't do that are the people that fucking work at McDonald's forever for minimum wage, because they have this completely... It's not even being selfish, because in a way I'm still being selfish. I'm doing for others only partly because I want to do for them. The majority of it is I'm doing for others because I think down the road that it will benefit me, because they will also do for me and we will socialize in a way. You have to be that guy. If you're not that guy, if you just sit there and say, well, I'm not going to do anything, what did they ever do for me? Guess what? You're never going to go anywhere, because nobody's ever going to fucking do anything for you just because exactly for the same reason that you won't do anything for them. You will always be at the bottom of the pond. Forever. Now, I may not make it to the top of the pond, because I didn't necessarily start out with a whole lot, but I've come pretty fucking far. And I think that part of it's because of that mindset. And I don't know. I was just thinking about it today, and I really wanted to just sit down and rant for a minute. So, that's probably going to be it for the video. I guess if you have any questions or any, questions about the video or questions about something else I might be able to rant about, drop them in the comments. I appreciate all you guys, especially those of you that watch the YouTube videos without me even having to say anything on Instagram, or like the stupid little random videos and that kind of stuff. Either way, I appreciate all of you. We didn't end up winning this game, but we got kind of close. I kind of shit-talked my teammates, but that's how I am. Anyway, see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.